Hi, I'm John from PGP Wedding Films, and welcome to Say Yes to the Best, where we talk to the best wedding pros to give you wedding planning advice. Subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Instagram. We have new content out all the time to help you with your wedding planning. Today, I want to talk about live streaming wedding ceremonies. It's something that I've been asked a lot about since March, and it's something that I started looking into pretty much once the COVID-19 shutdown started happening, because I assumed that when weddings got started back up, there would be people who couldn't make it who were important to my couples. Now that I'm getting back into the swing of things, I have started to do some live streams. I've learned a few things along the way, so hopefully I can help you, whether you're hiring a professional or if you're trying to do something yourself, to make things work a little bit easier for you and to be successful and give people at home a good experience when they're coming to view your wedding. So first, I'm going to talk a little bit about what my setup is. I'm using some equipment called Sling Studio, and that allows me to work with some of my professional cameras to get the best quality I can image-wise. But there are a lot of different ways that you can utilize it. And once we kind of go through the ideas of what you need to know, at the end I'm going to touch on things you can do if you don't have professional equipment. But before we get into that, I want to talk about just things you need to be thinking about to have a successful live stream. And the biggest thing that you really want to think about is what your internet connection is going to be. Especially if you're not just going to utilize your cell phone or someone's cell phone to just quickly put up something live on Facebook or Instagram. Having a good, solid internet connection is vital. So the best thing if you're utilizing professional equipment is a hardwired Ethernet connection, but that's probably not the most practical thing for most situations. So a reliable Wi-Fi signal should do the trick. That's when I've had the most success, when there is good, solid Wi-Fi at a location. Whether you're utilizing a system like Sling Studio that I'm using or you're working through a laptop, having good, solid internet connection is going to make sure that you don't have anything drop out. Barring that good, solid internet connection, you want to potentially have a Wi-Fi hotspot. I believe you can rent those from different companies. Most phones have the ability to be a personal Wi-Fi hotspot, and that's been what I've done when I haven't had Wi-Fi available on site. I've used my phone as that internet connection with decent results. Obviously, your cell phone signal at a location is going to be a big factor in whether or not a Wi-Fi hotspot is going to work out well for you, but you want to probably try to test that out ahead of time to make sure that you're getting a signal. So the next thing I think you really want to be thinking about is what camera or cameras do you want to be able to utilize in your live stream? Obviously, everyone has a cell phone, and pretty much every social media app gives you the opportunity to go live. You might not be able to utilize all the pro features, and you might not be able to kind of get up close and give people at home kind of an experience like they're there. Obviously, nothing is like being there, but we want to get as close as possible as we can. So as I mentioned, I've been utilizing Sling Studio, but there are other ways that you can do that as well. There are things called video capture cards that allow you to take a camera with an HDMI output, which is pretty standard on most mirrorless or DSLR cameras these days. It allows you to take that signal and convert it into something that your computer will interpret as an external webcam. So you can find those on Amazon. I'll put some links in the description below. This is what I've been using. It's from a company called Elgato. This is actually used for video game streaming. So it's a little bit of overkill, but when I went looking for a video capture card, a lot of them in March were sold out because there was a big demand when everyone started having to be at home. That's something that you want to utilize. You can just take something like this, put an HDMI into it, and then it has a USB out that can go into your computer. And then you can utilize that in YouTube or in Zoom, whatever platform you want to stream from your laptop. And you can use one camera and all of the features. So if you are able to zoom in using that camera, you'll be able to zoom in your live stream feed. So one of the reasons that I personally chose to invest in Sling Studio was it gave me the opportunity to use more than one camera in a live stream. So I'm able to hook up one of my cameras via an HDMI directly into the Sling Studio. I also have one wireless connection, so I can have a camera that's not right next to the Sling Studio as well to kind of get a different angle and a different perspective as I need. And if I'm not utilizing my phone as a Wi-Fi hotspot, I actually have been utilizing my cell phone as kind of a wide angle. So that gives me the option to cut to 3 different sources, and at least 2 if I can't use my cell phone, to kind of make the live stream a little bit more dynamic, giving your audience at home the opportunity to be close. If you're utilizing a cell phone from someone in the audience, they're not going to be able to get a very close shot. Audio is also a massively important part of a successful live stream. I actually think it might be more important than the video, because even if you are utilizing a cell phone and it's a big wide shot and you're a little bit smaller, if you can be heard, I think the people at home are going to feel like they're there and they're going to feel more engaged with your ceremony. So whether you're utilizing a video capture card with a camera and a laptop, or if you're using a system like a Sling Studio, lavalier microphones are probably going to give you the best results. This is a Rode Wireless Go system with a lavalier microphone plugged into it. You actually don't need the lavalier microphone. It actually has a microphone built into it, so you can actually just clip it somewhere. I always recommend hiding it because you don't want to have something ridiculous with a nice big logo visible for somebody's wedding. But if you can hide it under the groom's jacket or in the officiant's clothing, that's going to give you better results than just what onboard audio sources exist in your camera. Depending on how many microphones you can get, I always recommend starting with the officiant if the officiant is okay with you putting a microphone on them, since they're doing the majority of the talking and they are also right up with the couple in most scenarios when they're doing their vows. So when I've been doing live streaming, I've been making the officiant's lavalier my main choice. I give them the heads up that they're going to be live, so that make sure that they understand that people who are watching the live stream are going to be able to hear everything they say potentially. If you have the ability to have more than one lavalier microphone, I'd recommend putting another one on the groom for the same reason as the officiant. The groom is standing right in front of the bride, so you should get decent audio for both the bride and the groom with a mic on the groom. And having 2 sources definitely helps you. One thing that's nice with the Sling Studio that I've been using is I can adjust the audio levels during the ceremony. So in situations where I've been able to kind of adjust those levels while the ceremony is going on, I've left the groom's mic down until about the vows start, and then I bring those vows up so that their audio of the bride and groom were a little bit clearer. If it's not possible to lavalier microphone on the officiant or the groom, probably your next best step is to get a shotgun mic that can go on top of a camera. That is going to give you better results than the internal microphone on a camera, which is typically not very good. If you are going to utilize a microphone like this, I highly recommend trying to get the camera as close as possible to where the couple is going to be giving their vows. Just because these do a great job of picking up audio, whatever it's directed at. The idea is it's going to pick up whatever it's pointed at and not so much of the ambient noise from the sides. But it does have its limitations, and the closer you can get the microphone to the couple, the better you're going to be able to hear them or whatever else you are pointing it at, whether it's the officiant or a reader or some other person who you want to get audio of. So that's probably your second best option. So I think the next factor to really think about is how you're going to present the live stream to an audience. What platform are you going to utilize? I think that's, to an extent, personal preference. For me, the only platform that I've utilized so far for live streaming is YouTube, because I've found that it's been a pretty simple process with my Sling Studio. One thing that I've liked about that is I've been able to embed the YouTube link on a page in my website. So rather than sending the couple a link that's really hard to copy, it's just my website, their name and the date, and then all the live stream information is right there. And it's worked out relatively well. But that's not the only way to go. Especially if you're going with any of these options, you should be able to stream to Facebook or through Zoom or another video service like that. And I've seen couples who have utilized a service like Zoom, where they actually are able to then, maybe after the ceremony, interact with their guests who are not able to make it, which I don't think you would necessarily be able to do in a video format with Facebook or YouTube. So there are definitely advantages, and you probably want to just think about who's going to be viewing your live stream at home. If it's an older audience, you might want to try to make things simpler so that it's just easy for a grandparent to just click a link and there it is. Whereas if you have a little bit more of a tech savvy group, maybe you can utilize something like Zoom and have that sort of interaction. Shameless plug here. I think the best thing that you can do is to hire a professional to take care of all of these logistics for you. There are a lot of logistics in filming a wedding without live streaming, and then you throw in this wrinkle, and there are a lot of little things that can kind of trip people up. If you do need live streaming and you want someone to take care of it, I would be glad to help you, or just reach out and I'd be glad to give you some more advice. But a lot of what I've talked about is kind of from the perspective of where I am, where I do have equipment. So I want to talk a little bit about, if you only have your cell phone, what you can do to still make the most out of your live stream. So the first, I think I mentioned it in audio, but just get the camera as close to the action as you possibly can. If you're designating someone to be your live stream person, put them in the first row and get that shot as close as possible. It's going to help your audio, because the closer you are, the more likely you're going to be able to hear. Most cell phones camera lenses are wide angle, so it's going to be easier to get a wide shot, but harder to get nice close shots. The newer Apple iPhones, I know, have multiple cameras, and they do have some zoomed in options. But the more you digitally zoom in, you're going to lose some of the quality, and there's always a little bit of a quality loss when you're streaming compared to just recording HD or 4K video. The first tip would just be get the camera as close as possible. The second would be to still look into some sort of audio option. One of the reasons I think that even if you don't have professional camera options, you should still potentially look into the Rode Wireless Go is the connection that it plugs into is the same as a typical headphone jack. So if you can plug headphones into your phone, you should be able to potentially get better audio out of that. Additionally, you could even go onto a site like Amazon and just look up a microphone that goes onto a phone. It'll probably be like that shotgun microphone we talked about earlier. And again, you're going to get better results if you're utilizing a better microphone. And then the third is to just maybe know which platform you're going to use and test it ahead of time. One, I think, positive of using your cell phone over a more professional system is I think you're going to have a little less trouble verifying your internet signal. Most of the time, at least for me, I'm able to get some sort of signal. So I think you're kind of bypassing a lot of the technical things that can go wrong if you're just going to go straight from your phone. But you want to make sure that you're testing that. You don't want to tell people to show up, be ready for the live stream, and then, when it's 5 minutes before the ceremony and you're about to turn everything on, it doesn't work. So test things ahead of time. So I am by no means a complete expert at live streaming, and I'm definitely learning as I go on each wedding that I'm doing this. But I hope this can help you if you want to bring as many people together in your wedding day as you originally planned, just in a different way. So let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. I'd be more than glad to answer anything that I can to help you make your wedding and your live stream of your wedding ceremony go as smoothly as possible. Thanks for watching Say Yes to the Best. Again, subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Instagram. We're putting up new material all the time to help you with your wedding planning. Thank you and happy planning.
Nicole, you have picked me up when I've been down more times than I can count. You have held me when I've cried. You have saved my life. I would not be here today if it wasn't for you. You are my guardian angel. I am forever grateful.